Yeah, I don't want to take anything away from Westminster, but we've been running on fumes. I mean, I think, the emotional win Friday night and then just another late night. And, we were just talking about just feels like all we do is get on or get off or get off the bus. It just seems like that's all we've done. And if you think about, that's 6 out of 8 since we came back from Christmas. And it's not like any of those trips were easy trips. They were all the longest trips of the year. So, I was really proud of the way the guys have handled this whole thing. And, we just had nothing in the tank last night. And in that second half, I really felt like we had some opportunities, but every shot was short. We just didn't have a lot left in us. And, Westminster's been really good at home, and they're well coached, and they just kind of outfought us down the stretch. But, obviously the Fort Lewis win is another big road win for us against a team that'll be an NCAA tournament team. So we've built a really strong resume to this stage, and we just need to regroup here and recover and be ready for the stretch run.
Trevor, weekly award for you this week. You're RMAC Defensive Player of the Week, first one you've won this year. Just talk a little bit about what that means and how you're sort of firing on all cylinders on the defensive end.
It was a cool award. I think it mostly just became because of my rebounding. Coach KB and DeGeorge were talking about me about being more aggressive and having the ball when the ball comes out the rim, just go out and grab it. And that's kind of what I've been doing recently, just taking a bigger focus on just defensive rebounding and outletting it and pushing the pace. So it's cool.
Yeah, not only was it your rebounding, but when you had the 15 boards against Fort Lewis, 14 of them were defensive. That's, creating 14 possessions for your team. So, could you just expand a little more on the importance of that?
Yeah, we knew we had to get to the glass because they don't turn the ball over themselves. And, obviously in that game I had a lot of turnovers. So I tried to counteract that with getting some rebounds. But, no, we knew how big and strong their centers are. And I knew I would have to get a body on them, and I know I can out-jump them, so my main thing was just box them out and then get it at the highest point possible, and because I know I can out-jump them, out-reach them. So that's really what I was focusing on, was just grabbing the ball off the rim.
Reece, for you, you had, I think, a season high in points last game. You just talk a little bit about your offensive performance and just that sort of wing rotation. You guys have been switching a lot at the 2 and the 3 this year, and how do you think that's going?
Yeah, I think my team is sort of finding me. I was trying to get in windows and shoot the open threes with confidence. And then as far as attacking, just making simple plays, just trying to make winning plays. That's all it comes down to, is competing, trying to win the game.
And then, Coach, you got the rivalry matchup with Western coming up this Saturday. And as you mentioned, a first home game in 3 weeks, 6 of the last 8 on the road. Talk about how good it's going to feel to be playing in front of the fans at Brownson and turning out for that big rivalry game.
Yeah, losing is just a terrible feeling, and to have a 10-game winning streak, you kind of forget how miserable it is. And so the opportunity to rectify that and kind of get back on a winning note is the number one thing. And then obviously it's a big rivalry, and we know how much energy Western plays with. And even though they haven't had a great season in terms of wins and loss, we know how meaningful it would be for them to get us. That's always a calling card for them if they are able to get us and they've had success against us. So. We need to recover, and we're excited for an opportunity to get out and go. And then just to talk about these two guys, just briefly, Trevor downplayed the rebounding a little bit, but just watching that game, against Fort Lewis, we were in a shorthanded situation a lot because of how aggressively we were rotating. And, when the ball would go up, I'd be like, we're not going to get this offensive rebound. And he would snag that thing off of the rim. So they were not Russell Westbrook rebounds. They were impactful in the game. And it really did garner us extra possessions in that game with the way he dominated the defensive glass. And then Reece, whatever we've asked Reece in his time here, he's always handled well. He's always been able to do. And I think you could say that the last 2 games have been his two best games of the year. And, and we asked him to come off the bench and kind of give the other guys a confidence boost. I don't value starting at all, but, the players do. We're more concerned about who finishes the game. And and that. And so, whatever we've ever asked of him, he's always responded well with just a great approach and attitude. And it's just exemplified coming off the bench and then having two of his biggest games of the year just speaks to his character.
All right, questions?
Say, Reece, the way that you have been able to kind of do whatever, come off the bench, start, play inside, outside, kind of doing, kind of a jack of all trades. I mean, you came here, everybody thought, okay, he's a 3-point shooter and that's it. But you've really developed more of an all-around game. Kind of, what's the process been like the last 3 years for you like that?
I appreciate you saying that because, I think my freshman year I was like just a shooter. Just working hard. And then really, like, I've always had the approach is it's about the team. Like, I really don't care. Like, I want to win games, and that's why we're here. And so the personal stuff that really never weighs heavy on me. So it's like if I can help and I trust Coach whenever he says, and if he wants me to do something, I'm going to do it and bring the best attitude I can.
Yeah. Looks like, Coach and I have talked about this. I mean, this team, you can be down against, the number 3 team in the nation on the road. You just kind of will yourselves. It's like, we're not going to back down. Nobody's going to give us anything. Where does that grit on this team come from?
I think it's just the fact that we hate losing. I mean, we all push each other. We're all ultra competitive people. I mean, with anything we do, we hate losing in every aspect, and we push ourselves and each other to the maximum capability in the weight room and practice just to avoid the feeling of losing. Because, I mean, I play because I love the game, but I think everyone really just understands the fact that it's just a grind-out game. There's going to be runs. There's going to be controversy and stuff that we're going to have to overcome. So we just have to weather the storm and stay level-headed, and never too high, never too low.
I agree. Super competitive people, and you bring us together, and try to win.
You saw that when you guys were in the pool trying to, dunk a ball coming off a slide. I mean, it's like everything is everything a competition on this team pretty much?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It goes back to COVID years with Trevor and I playing FIFA and not wanting to talk to each other. The FIFA video game, and we wouldn't talk after we would go on winning streaks. But, yeah.
You kind of like seeing that. I mean, they're very competitive amongst each other, but they also are each other's best friends.
Yeah, they really do have a unique balance of how they do it. It's I don't think it's like any team I've ever coached in that they can really kind of get after each other because they do like each other, and they can have this competitive thing amongst themselves, but they all have this understanding that we're all in this together, and that on game night we're competing in practice against each other to make us better for the games, and then we're all in it together in the games. And so they really get that, and it's a special group because of that. And then then you got to add the Mac Reniker factor. And unfortunately, last night he had a food poisoning, so he wasn't at his best. But he's had so many games where, right in those key times, he makes some sort of crazy defensive play that just sparks that competitive spirit in everybody. And then we kind of finished with that run. And so, unfortunately, we didn't have him really last night at the end. He didn't have a lot left in the tank. But, he's been a key part of that as well. And then whether we're talking about these guys or Blaze or whoever, they just really compete and get after each other in every aspect, and it just raises the level all the time.
So do you guys now see the bus in your dreams? And is it a nightmare? You wake up screaming, or do you want to throw things when you see the bus on campus? Or
I was just talking to Coach about it, and we were talking that felt like our second home. I mean, that really felt like our home for the last couple of weeks. I was talking about just enjoying being able to sleep in my bed for at least more than 3 days before I have to get on a bus and lay across the aisles. But no, I mean, we understand that going on the road is going to have to be a part of it. It makes us better in the long run, but it'll definitely be nice to play a couple games here.
All right, you guys, question of the week time. If you could time travel, when and where would you want to go?
this is right up his
Well, I'm going to answer for Coach KB. He would want to go to the pyramids, see how they were really built.
That's so true.
And that's honestly a fair answer. Coach KB is a very big conspiracy theorist. He loves his fair share of interesting concepts and ideas, but I think that would definitely be an interesting time to go back to see how and really how the pyramids were built. There's a lot of physics and stuff that don't necessarily add up with the pyramids being built, so I'm just curious. I mean, I'm not into that many weird things, but I think it's definitely an interesting idea.
Yeah, and Coach Boucher did tell me, he was like, we got to stop taking bus trips because what I do is he listens to these like podcasts about conspiracies because he thinks it's funny, and he's like, enough with conspiracies. I got to get back to reality here. So it'll be good to be off the bus for a while with that. And then I'm just going to go with I want to time travel into the future, the 6 hours or 8 hours, so we don't have to be on the bus for any of these future bus trips. So
I don't have a good one. I think ancient Rome or ancient Europe would be cool. That fascinates me, so I'd do that.
Sweet.